Hello everybody, Majin here, back with something a little bit different today. Today we're hopping on this game called Striving for Light. Been playing this game for a little while, been really enjoying it, and I'll kind of explain to you how I first got into this game. So I participated in something I got an email for from Keymailer called the Novix Game Expo. Had some demos for games and also introduced some games as well that you can try out and check out there. I have more info on that in the description. And basically I found the demo for this game through there. I decided to check it out. I really enjoyed it. I then checked on the Steam page. They had a demo. I was downloading that. I did, request this key for this game to check it out, and I was approved. So that's pretty nice. Thank you again, Igniting Spikes, for that. But basically, I tried the demo. They had a pre-release race, which I can hop over to the server here, so you can like basically select your league. It's game is like PoE, Diablo, dungeon crawlers, vampire survivors, like all kind of mixed in. You may have heard about this game before. They have another version of this game called Striving for Light Survival. I think that's the more vampire survivors-esque one. But basically, this was like a separate league. They had like a 2-day event that when I participated, there was 1 day left, and I managed to make it into 7th place. If it loads up here, it may not no longer be able to load, but should be able to show the achievements. So basically, they had like a set of seasonal challenges, and as you complete the challenges, you are able to rack up points. The first place will be able to work with the devs on designing an item, and the second to 10th place will get a key. So we went through that process, pretty nice. Further ado, let's explain like some of the basics. So first, you have two saves in this game: softcore and hardcore. Both have different progression. Softcore, you get 3 extra lives if you defeat a gatekeeper boss, or basically a map boss that you fight at the end of each map. You get an extra shield or life, basically. Hardcore, as it usually is, 1 life. That's all. So both can be whatever which one you want to jump into. So starting off with hardcore, you'd only unlock these first 2 classes here. I did have a blend earlier, and I started and my recording was a bit off. So back here again, you have the 2 initial classes. One that is more spec'd around building a melee build, and the other one a range build. Here, another class I unlock with that I'll be showing off today is the Dark Wanderer, which has a negative 25% attack speed to start off with, and the weapons he actually starts off with is a melee weapon that has a chance to spawn a skeleton spider after defeating an enemy, and also a weapon that poisons. There's more to this character as well once we start the run. So I guess this time around I can show the skill tree. When you first start off, you won't immediately be able to open the skill tree. You have to go through a little tutorial area, and after you defeat the first boss, any future characters, you'll be able to start at the town and continue from there. So you have the skill tree. You have your skill gems or skill gems that you can get from defeating enemies. You can place these around, and I'll have like different categories depending on what they affect. You have endurance, energy, dodge, and then I think this might just be another category. I'm not too sure. We have our shard of conjunctions. So like if the skills are close enough, you can link them. This one, it rerolls one to a random skill gem. This one rerolls all of the gems on the skill tree map that's the same type into a random skill gem. This one refunds one, and this last one will in a select area. So let's say if I had one of these, I would put it here in 1, 2, and 3, or it would prioritize these 3, and then all the skill trees that I didn't invest, or skill points that I didn't invest into the skill slots would get reset. Explain that poorly, but hope you understand. Basically, poison shot, energy regeneration, multi-hit would all be less likely to show up on the skill tree after that refresh. You see over here we have our endurance. Over here we got our energy. C, it's crafting. You have our shard of power. which has a chance to modify the base damage. If I click this weapon here, I can right click, see it's 6 to 10 damage, and right here you have the crafting potential, and each one of these you use, it will go down, and once it reaches 0, you can't edit the weapon anymore. You can still find, you know, better versions of the weapon as drops, so you got that. Shard of Instability, it randomizes the weapon's traits that would usually be right here to uncommon, rare, and epic versions, basically 1, 2, or 3 extra traits, or modifiers you can say. Shard of Quality has the ability to transform a weapon into a legendary weapon, and it'll get like on attack or on hit effects that'll benefit your weapon. If you see here, the weapon also has a cost on the bar. So in this case, this melee weapon has 2 endurance, 1 energy cost, and if I close this menu real quick and swing, it uses that. And that'll bring us over here to the character page menu where you see all your character stats. Here we have dodge, these 3 little bars right above the endurance and energy. You press spacebar to dodge back and forth. See that there? You have their max endurance, max energy, your regeneration rate for all 3, your weapons and what they cost to use. You can never use a weapon if it costs more than, you know, what you have available. You also have to keep in mind your regeneration rate, because if your regeneration rate can't keep up, and you know, obviously if you're not strong enough, if you shoot really slow, it'll be very hard to progress. Yeah, your main stat page, miscellaneous stats like projectile speed, like range information basically. If you have any life leech, all your currencies, all in one place. And then if you have any skill gems that have active skills or buffs, like any of these, they'll show up as well. Over here we have the first NPC, a blacksmith. You can unlock new weapons that you can find out in the world here. I don't think there's a ton to unlock, but obviously I haven't played long enough to see everything that's available. You can also unlock a one-time character if you get 10 of these things over here, which are called light fragments. You can get them from normal enemy drops if the map has a bonus to light fragment drops. You can get those, or directly from elite enemies, bosses, and events. Over here is where you can unlock skill gems. You also have a one-time unlock character for 10 light fragments.
I can decide.
And also unlock skill gems. Here you got the Tree of Light, which is basically like pretty much the meta progression that's separated in the two difficulties between like hardcore and softcore. So basically, you can use the light fragments you collect. They're not, you know, specific to the character. You can keep stacking them, saving them if you wish, and you basically use this to keep upgrading this Tree of Light. And basically, you can, you know, build it towards your play style. And then, you know, maybe you reach to a point where you start just investing to other stats as well. You have the energy over here, endurance, attack speed, dodge, movement speed, companion skills. You know, pretty much everything here depending on what you want to go for. I generally, because I enjoy using range, I just started investing into energy on my softcore save. In terms of the way the maps work, I guess, can I not pull up the map right now? I guess I can't pull up the map right now, but I can explain it as we go. Basically, the way the map system works is as you progress, each like difficulty, as you progress through the difficulty of the maps, they'll have a couple slots you can use, which you get map shards as drops, and you can use the map shards to either add a modifier, reroll all the modifier, reroll a single random modifier, or to change a map. But you got to keep in mind, it does have limited slots, so if you use up all the slots, obviously, you know, you can't make any more changes. As you progress though, there will be like, you know, different branch off paths, so you don't always have to take the next one in line. Let's see what we got here. A herd staff. I think the poison is actually still better right now, so I'm gonna stick with that. I think what I'm gonna do with this character here is I'm gonna go for a minion build. You're not always necessarily locked into what the character, stats are based off of. Sometimes you can make like a character, even if it seems like it wouldn't work for this build, work pretty well. That sound you heard for character actions for help, that's one of the other NPCs, or I should say the third NPC. I'm not sure if there's any other NPCs aside from that you save and can spawn in the town. This big enemy right here is an elite enemy. It's generally drop light fragments, and if there's enough enemies defeated, he'll also drop the key so you can open the chests and head to the next floor if you don't wish to clear everything on the floor. I do recommend clearing everything on the floor though, so you get as much XP as possible. I'm not too sure if there is necessarily a reason currently not to clear the floor and get all XP as you can. Sometimes it is best to skip events though. It can be pretty challenging if you don't have the right build or right stats or right weapons. And there are some breakable objects on like each map. It's not the same starter map either. You can get a random map depending on which maps you have unlocked. There is obviously a limit to the number of map unlocks. So until you get them, you will occasionally see a event that allows you to just unlock it once you walk up to it, which is pretty cool. Let's up back over into the skill tree. There is a specialization for each character that branches off into various paths. They all generally follow the same, but there are some uniqueness to each of them. This character in particular focuses more on like buffing your companions or giving them status effects. I think here I will take might take this one. Or this one. Like these two are both good. You get a specialization at level 10. Like it says right here, it's 10, 30, and 50, and those are your 3 specializations. As far as I know, you can't re-roll them. I didn't ask, but definitely could. They are active on the Discord. The dev does respond to any bugs that you make them aware of. Pretty fast on the fixes as well, which is cool. These enemies in particular, I think they have a splash attack. The way like a lot of enemies work in this game is that they have to be within a certain range. So if you kite them the right way, like specific enemies might not attack you. Like you see, there goes his attack. But usually with the way I'm kiting him, he's like always just slightly out of range. That's another reason why I just kind of enjoyed the range build. It's a lot more comfortable in terms of dodging. Some enemies have contact damage attacks, but as you can see, I dodged right into him and took no damage at all. Even if I run into him, he might like be able to block me from moving, but he won't directly do damage from just me running into him. Maps can also have modifiers that give elite enemies like this extra attacks that you have to worry about, so keep that in mind. It's not breakable. I think this one can be a bit annoying. I gotta be careful with this guy. Yep. I'm surprised you got in range of me there. Yes, we can try to get some upgrades. While you're in this menu, by the way, the game is technically paused, so you can jump in here real quick if you need to make any changes, spend some skill points, do some crafting. Because when you open the crafting menu outside of this, or the character menu outside of this, it does not pause the game. You can still get attacked, and I believe you can't even attack while the menus are up, or at least I've tried and it hasn't worked. So let's see what we can grab here. Since we're going for a range build, having this right here kind of sucks, but maybe we can re-roll it later. Right here we do have 2 energy regeneration nodes, which I will take, as well as this one. Scattering projectiles, probably not too bad. unless I decide to grab a minion summoning weapon. So there's two types of minion like summoning weapons. There's weapons that on per hit it has a chance to spawn a minion. There's weapons that spawn minions once you use it, and there's also weapons that like maybe it spawns a minion after the enemy dies. And those are like three the options available to you. You also have skill gens that can give you permanent minions, and as you might have seen, the specialization also has extra minion slots. And this one in particular spawns one after each enemy that dies. Which, in retrospect, it sounds like a good thing, but when you're fighting a single target, enemy, it's not really doing much for you. I think I still prefer this one. The extra chance to destroy some projectiles. Not all enemies have projectile attacks. There's also just area of effect attacks that you gotta watch out for. This guy in particular is a little bit tricky, but we managed to beat him. And as you've seen, since we defeated enough enemies, we did get a key. Once we defeat a few more enemies, you will see an icon here telling you how many enemies are left on the map. If you press tab, get a bigger view of the map, see any nodes or anything on the map, any drops we may have missed. This right here is a return stone to go back to the town. It doesn't always appear, but sometimes it does. Use that to your advantage and maybe try to grab some skill gems or craft a weapon early on. You're not always guaranteed to get a new skill gem or weapon on unlock. I'm not sure if there's any identifier if it's something you haven't unlocked, but from what I noticed, you kind of just have to pay attention to which ones you're grabbing. But it could have been that I just overlooked something. That right there is like I forgot what the name for this is called, but essentially it's like a loot pinata. You want to hit it, it's got loot for you. There's two versions of this. There's this normal version right here, and then you also have a elite version, which will spawn like smaller versions of itself. You have to chase around, and if you've seen when I wasn't attacking it or it wasn't taking damage, it tried to open a portal. So you have to be able to do enough damage and have enough speed to keep up with it to make sure it isn't despawning. That's another reason why I pretty much been enjoying range attacks and conditional effect or status effect builds. Pretty good for these, and just clearing out mobs in general, which you will find that you're generally fighting a lot of. But I guess if you do enough raw damage, it doesn't matter anyways. So this right here is an event where you unlock a new map. Here we go. Unlock the courtyard. Bow. As you see here, it has like, you're probably like, what the heck is this? This is an item that was added in by a player. So depending on how far you get and how much you level up your character and stuff, you get something called echo shards whenever your character dies or you decide to end the run, which you can stop and continue to run anytime. Yeah, not like you're like forced to finish there in that one moment. And you can use that to essentially design a weapon out of a select set of presets, and you can add your own description to it. I think there is something that allows there's like I don't know if it's a skill gem or if there was a weapon that makes your melee weapon trigger on range attacks. So I think I'll still keep this for now. We got some weapon shards, sort of crafting thing. Those do carry over between characters as well, so you don't have to like feel inclined to use them on early game weapons or anything. Same for the skill gems. Or, excuse me. Pull back up the challenge tree. All these skill gems you can use them or you can save them. It always adds to the farthest end unless there's enough space in between to place them. Like right here, I can't place it to connect to this one, so I can only do something like this. You left click and you place it how you want. You right click. I do recommend before using anything in the menu, you zoom out a little bit so you have a better control, because once you click on this, you can't click here, so you might pick up a skill gem and accidentally place it somewhere you don't want it to be. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna go here and grab some this energy. Connect, connect this node. Grab these. And I actually will grab that endurance. And this one. Oh, once I get another level, I'll grab this one. This basically is, will spawn like 2 blades that surrounds my character on every attack. Pretty neat. We also have this one, which will make us use a little bit more energy. I think right now our energy regeneration is pretty good since we got a good handful of upgrades. We're almost level 10 though, which we should get before we challenge this guy. This is basically third NPC. In order to unlock him, you need to fight a little boss. You only need to do it once though, and then you'll always have him unlocked. Let's just double check we didn't miss any enemies here. You literally just need one more. But maybe we just got unlucky this time around. Yeah, I think because we didn't have a lot of stuff to unlock. Let me see what this does again. How much? Doesn't have a lot of range either. I was gonna say maybe that'd be better to stack conditional effects, but seems like we just have to go without it and take on the challenge.
Help me! Help me!
Don't have a lot of dodge regeneration either. These are not, contact damage enemies, so you can just slowly kite them. There's a lot of them though. Try to maybe spawn some spiders with melee attacks perhaps. Yeah, there we go. That worked a lot better than trying to use that slab. That was actually the longest or biggest amount of waves I've seen. I wonder if it was because it was taking me so long to clear all of them. But basically, you talk to him, now he'd be always at the town. I guess since we technically have a town portal, we can just go and show him off real quick. Oops, accidentally went back through. Go away, go back through again. See him right here, the last NPC. You have an option to transmute items, so basically all your map shards, your weapon shards, skill gems, you can just, throw them in, gamble them, you'll get some light fragments, or, other skill gems, weapon shards, map shards. I think, can you get items from it? I'm not too sure, but whenever you, spend fragments for skill gems or weapons, and, maybe it's not something you plan to use, just to clean it up, you can convert those into light fragments. I think when you transmute, I don't think you get light fragments from transmuting. I think it's always you get some other item from that. And you can also unlock a one-time character from using 10 light fragments on this guy as well. This icon right here, I didn't explain earlier, but this allows you to play local co-op with one person on the keyboard and another person on the controller. I don't know if there's any plans for online co-op, but that's generally how it works. You have right here the leaderboard. Basically, highest level reached, each of the difficulties you decide to challenge. I did lose my last character. I guess it's not showing here, but I did lose my last character by, or I guess it's only on softcore by trying out at difficulty tier 2. Kind of bit me in the bum. But basically, as you go into higher difficulties, it gives you a different base bonus for the map, but obviously it increases the enemy health. Don't think it affects the damage. I still can't pull up the menu on this character because it's a bit earlier. You have rips as well, which then head over to real quick. Basically, to do rifts, there's 4 events that can spawn. There's Trial of Fire, Trial of Water, Trial of Earth, Trial of Air. You need to do one of each of these to challenge a level of the rift. I'm not sure if the cost increases per level, but I do know you need to fight each one in order to access it. Over here, we got the Awakened Gatekeeper leaderboard. Basically, Awakened Gatekeeper, as you go on and farther, you have increased chance for one of them to spawn. It'll basically be an extra boss at the end of the map that will, one, be harassing you during the initial boss fight, but also you have to fight that boss afterward. Challenges leaderboard is the seasonal challenges, as you've seen before, that I mentioned for the pre-release race. These challenges here. Basically, that's what that is. I don't know if they have any importance during this season, but they're there to keep track of and try out if you wish. So, explain all that. We can go ahead and head over to the exit portal and challenge the boss for this map. As far as I'm aware, most bosses don't change too much unless they have modifiers that change things. That was close. Not having enough dodges does kind of suck though, or enough dodge regeneration, I should say. Keeps using that attack, it'll be pretty easy. Is that here? There we go. These little hearts here, you'll see these generally on every map, or maybe some other, object that you can hit. Drops a couple extra hearts. Let's see what we got here. Ballistic barkwood. Each attack shoots a piercing projectile in attack direction. It's a melee weapon. I think we'll still stick with what we have for now. Light staff, nothing to really write home about. This path up top basically is a portal back to town, in case you need to do anything there, or you can just go ahead on to the next map. If you have some skill points as a spin here, which I will grab my character specialization, and see what else we can grab here. Grab energy regen and attack speed. Critical hit does also work for minions, by the way. It's pretty cool. And we also grab bleeding swirl, and I think we should still be fine in terms of energy. Yeah, we did. We didn't accidentally swap out our weapon, did we? Sure, we're still using the. Yep. Okay. Let's keep moving on. Yeah, I realize this video's probably been going on a little bit too long enough, so I'll wrap things up here. If you would like to see more of this, or if you think there might have been something I didn't cover, or you had more questions, I'll try to include everything I can in the description to make sure everything's pretty much covered. The Expo, this game, if you want to find it on Steam yourself. This enemy is actually a bit tricky. I haven't faced this enemy before. At least not one. I swear he always chases you before and not back up like this, which is pretty interesting. Not an issue though. But alrighty. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Later.